All right, y'all, here we go. Back again, one more time. This is the Street Nerds podcast. My name is Krook Rock, the Grind King. And beside right here on the side of me, I got Divine. Divine, we're going to talk about Divine in a minute. My name is Krook Rock. I've been doing hip hop for over 30 years, DJ, rap, graffiti. You know, I did little breakdancing when, you know what I'm saying, b-boying when I was much younger, you know what I'm saying, in the earlier stages of hip-hop, you know, and just became an entrepreneur, you know what I'm saying, own a smoothie shop, distribution company, and we out here just creating every day new ideas. I have a brand called Organic Vibes. It's like a clothing brand, but it's also the name of my album that I dropped in 2020, featuring 30 artists and musicians from Rhode Island. Check that out. You know what I'm saying? It was all recorded at the Boiler Room Studio, mixed by Merc Beats and myself, you know what I mean? And now we're starting this podcast because we know the people needed some more knowledge. The knowledge is out there, but for some reason, people don't know how to really search for themselves for a lot of the information, but they look to a guide or someone who has done the research that they respect, and they'll listen to you, you know what I'm saying? They might not do the knowledge themselves, but they'll listen to someone that they look up to, you know what I'm saying, admire in any way. So that's what we're doing here. We're bringing, you know, our culture, our knowledge to inspire others, you know what I'm saying, and motivate them to do more with themselves, you know, so... Right now, I got Divine. Divine is a very interesting person. We met by chance, but online we had a lot of mutual friends, a few mutual good friends. So, you know, it was only a matter of time before we linked up, you know what I'm saying? And you have a story, you know, you was born actually in Newport, Rhode Island.
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about, you know, just about yourself, starting with that, born in Newport.
Yeah. Born in a middle class, you know, family, Newport, Rhode Island. You know, early age, probably like up to 10 years old. You know, middle class. Went to Catholic school, but you know, it was a single parent household. My mom's, you know, worked real hard to give me and my brother the best she could. She was never involved in like drugs, drinking alcohol, none of that, right? Real good woman, raised by nuns herself. She was adopted.
Wow.
Grew up in New Bedford, Massachusetts, in the home. So she had really like strong morals and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, by the time I was 10, you know, her and my father went through some you know, challenges or whatever. Yeah, a little breakup, whatever. She had a mental emotional breakdown. Caused her to flee on Newport. And leave with some peoples, and then get involved in, you know, some negative lifestyle,
right,
of, you know, selling drugs and doing drugs. She had never been exposed to that world before, so that was a shock on us. We eventually would follow behind her. She went down to Louisiana, and we would follow behind her. And by the time we came back up to Newport, you know, it was a full blown crack epidemic. You know, that plagued every urban city throughout America in the early 80s, you know what I mean?
So you was in New Orleans for a little bit.
Not New Orleans, I was in Louisiana, Leesville, Louisiana.
Okay.
But not far from New Orleans,
okay,
yeah.
so y'all was out there, and then your mom got caught up.
Yeah, we were down there, got involved in all that.
Street drugs and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But then you moved back to Newport?
To Newport, yeah, we came back up top.
And when did this, I know that affected you. You was mad young, and how did it affect you, and what changed about you and your life, and how you were seeing things or doing things once your mom is living like that, and you have to, you know, be like, you the man of the house pretty much, you the oldest, right?
Yes. Older son, yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, being abruptly thrust into projects and poverty was something new to me, you know what I mean?
Right.
I was raised middle class. I never understood, you know, that life,
right,
until I was absorbed by it, and that took a toll on me as far as a young kid, because I lost my mom to drugs, right? Her drug abuse and drug use, and my whole goal was like, how do I get back to my middle class upbringing and how I was, our family, get my moms back.
You didn't want to be broke.
Nah, I mean, it
didn't
wasn't
like
so
the
much
feeling
being, it
of
wasn't so
being
much being
broke.
broke. It was more so like just a foundational, the family foundation of just not being in a condition that was subpar, if you would.
Right.
You know what I mean?
An environment
Yeah,
that was
and the
more,
environment,
more
the environment.
respectable and
I mean, but given to my credit, I was able to adapt and master that, and my middle class upbringing really allowed me to leverage my intelligence at the next level,
Right,
and be able to become successful in the drug trade really fast. I mean, I went into the
you
streets at 13 years old.
13 years old,
Yeah.
you started selling drugs.
Started hustling, you know what I mean? To survive.
Then you started, you got arrested and you went to juvie.
Yeah, I went to juvenile for a minute, you know what I'm saying? Rhode Island Boys Training School. I was given a sentence of FOC, which they could hold me till I was 21. I had committed a crime when I was 17, but I had turned 18. So they could have held me for 3 years. But, I was able to leverage the system to my favor. You know what I mean? Manipulate the system in my behalf. And I was able to get my GED and get out within 9 months. You know what I mean? On an FOC sentence.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you was ready to put in the effort and do whatever you can to better yourself.
Yeah.
But
more so, I just needed to get back to the streets, get this money. Yeah, I just had a
so you went
child.
back to the streets.
Yeah,
you
my
had a
son was 2
kid,
years old. Yeah.
and so it was grind time.
Yeah. So I had to get back and just get money, and that was my whole focus. How do I get back into the streets and get
Saying,
money
but
again?
you wasn't trying to get a job or anything.
I mean, I tried. I actually had stopped selling drugs and was, dishwashing and all that. I never really had a trade skill. Yeah. I come from a family of tradesmen. My father was a roofer and a painter, but that really wasn't, my brothers was involved with that, but
Washing dishes
was really
making
my
that
thing.
much money though.
Yeah, well, the trade skill, I never really got that. And then washing dishes was what I leaned on, restaurant jobs. In Newport, there's a lot of restaurants.
Right.
So I would, do the dishes and all that. But at the end of the day, I just had a son. He's 2 years old. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, I got to figure this out. And the streets for me has always been my savior since 13 years old. So I'm 18 right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm like, I got to get this money. And I was always good at what I did in the streets. So
And
I knew I could do it.
So while you was getting money, I know you just kept saving your money and getting more, getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Kept stacking.
And sometimes when you're doing that, the excitement and the thrill of that street victory, you know what I'm saying? Makes you start to feel kind of like invincible, like you think you could do whatever you want to do, and you think that it's never gonna end. That you're just gonna keep making money. So what was the how did you end up stop doing crime completely? Like what was the biggest hurdle that you faced?
So not long after I got out of training school, I say like not even within a few months, 6 months actually, I was doing my thing, going out to New York, getting keys, bringing them back to Rhode Island, doing my thing, and I was arrested. You know what I'm saying? Charged. The feds picked up my case. I was one of the first crack cocaine cases in the state of Rhode Island, if not the first, but the first in Newport, Rhode Island.
So were they watching you, or they just happened to stop you and then found
it was a crazy thing because I was like so low key, didn't even know what I was doing. I exposed myself, you know what I mean, being too curious about who one of my guys was delivering to because they kept buying like ounces. And I was like, yo, what's he buying all these ounces for? I want to see who this is. And, as they say, curiosity killed the cat. In my sense, you know what I'm saying? It killed me in a sense. So that was my curiosity led to me exposing myself.
Word.
And then
so pretty much they was watching your mans, or they was
they had someone at my man,
him, and they were trying to get closer to whoever
who was
getting
supplying it, right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And I exposed myself, and that's what happened. I mean, I was arrested, sent to federal prison. Like I said again, the first crack cocaine, conviction out here in Rhode Island. The first at a Newport, one of the first in Rhode Island.
Man, what year was that?
That was 1992. 1992, man, yeah, is when I got hit. And it's crazy because no one from my town, or my city rather, nobody got arrested under the crack law, you know what I mean, by the feds till 10 years after me.
Right.
Meaning it took a whole 10 years after my case for anybody else to get hit with that same law or go to the feds. That's how ahead of my time I was.
That's wild.
Right?
No, selling crack is a very I want to say dishonorable.
Oh
thing
yeah,
to,
yeah,
to
yeah,
do, you
yeah.
know what I'm
Nah,
saying?
dishonorable profession, if you would. Word up.
But
I
you
agree.
know,
I agree.
it's just not only just that the destruction that it causes, but it causes like destruction in families immediately. You know what I'm saying?
I destroyed my family.
And so like, do you have any wild story that could have only happened to someone selling crack?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. A lot of wild stories. I mean, we was early in the days. I mean, back in Newport, it was crazy because a lot of the local cats in Newport really didn't control the drug trade during the '80s crack epidemic. It was more out of towners. A lot of Providence cats came down, and they kind of like controlled it. They had the largest share. You know what I mean? We eventually would come up and position ourselves, but we really wasn't exposed to that like that. I had been exposed to the city because early on I would travel to Providence on the bus, so I was exposed to more a city life. You know what I mean? And then early on, going to Philadelphia and New York City, being one of the first cats from my town to do that.
Oh yeah, first
Being
of all,
exposed.
well, I forgot to mention you also rap.
Yeah.
Are you traveling to Philly and stuff like that, rapping?
Yeah. I mean, hip hop for me has always been my life since I was 10. I've always been a writer, performer like you, did b-boying, also DJing, graffiti. I had all those talents, you know what I mean? All the elements of hip hop. But I gravitated more to the lyricism and being an MC. But that was just part of my culture, right? If you would, my upbringing, being exposed to that. And drugs was how I made money. I sold drugs and make money. So I never really took hip hop as a career. I never took being an MC as a career until I was released from the feds after doing my first bid, which was 7 years they gave me. But anyway, my exposure to Philadelphia and New York in those early days gave me a deeper sense of what the streets really is, what being in poverty really is. Like I'm thinking I'm in poverty, and I'm thinking I'm in the projects, and my projects look like townhouses compared to the projects I'm being exposed to in Philly and New York. In New York, you know what I mean? So I got that early exposure, but and it was really like the city was more my speed, just in how my mind moved. My mind moved fast, so when I saw how the streets of New York moved and Philly moved, I saw that as more my environment where I belong. So I had a strong affinity for New York City. Right, you know what I mean?
Right.
That would develop.
Yeah, because you was always into hip hop, so
Right.
going to the city.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're in the city, you like I'm in hip hop.
Yeah, you feel connected, right?
Like,
you feel connected. So
same thing with me. I moved to New York in '93 to go to college, and just being in New York and living like a New Yorker to me was just hip hop. It was like, damn, I was realizing that a lot of hip hop style and what we thought hip hop looked like, it wasn't like a certain look because it was hip hop. This is just a survival look.
Right.
Like
It's a street
the
look.
bomber jackets,
Urban.
the bomber jackets, the boots because it's cold out there.
Right.
It be snowing out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when I start to see people who I would consider non-hip hop still dressed like hip hop,
Right.
I realize, it's not the hip hop culture, it's the New York culture, it's the culture of the surviving people out here that are walking everywhere.
Right,
so you gotta
exactly.
rock, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You used to rock a lot of the
You gotta be bundled up. You gotta be RB fatigues.
You know, so you got the
hoodies, you know what I mean?
The thermal under.
All that. The Tim's on and all that. I mean, so I was exposed to New York early on, man. So that gave me I was always mature for my age in general, right? Ever since I was a little kid. And my maturity shined in just the way that I did things, how I moved. I mean, my success in the drug trade, you know what I mean? All that was all part of my maturity and my development, and also just my intelligence and how I saw life. And I was always entrepreneurial and business minded, and I really got that from my father because he was an entrepreneur.
You know what I mean? Like a roofing company.
Yeah,
and stuff
exactly.
Like that.
Yeah, exactly. Black man. You know what I'm saying, most successful out there
for himself.
Yeah, exactly.
So
he was
you
well
had
known.
that even if you're not raised by him, with him, and
I had the
telling
DNA
you,
intelligence.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? So I leaned on that, and I was successful. And just being exposed to New York City just changed my life. So New York became like my second home, but really like my first home.
Right.
Because I flow with the whole style of how New York moved. You know what I mean?
So that how you met Rakim? I see you have a lot of pics of Rakim, and it's not like you recently met him. Y'all been cool for mad years.
Yeah, I've known Ra for like 17 years now, and that came through my endeavors in music. You know what I mean? Being in music and being exposed to the culture of hip hop. I think I first came across Ra when I was probably like, I was in like junior high school. First joint I heard of him, 86, right? First joint I heard from him, I was like impacted by that. But I never knew like I would go on to be an MC. I never knew that I would be a prolific writer, you know, and have the level of skills that I had and that I developed. But Ra was a blueprint of all that, you know what I'm saying? And I got knowledge of self in 1992 in training school. I got exposed to knowledge of self, Nation of Islam, Nation of Gods and Earths, and I got exposed to that. And then I at the right time, I met the right individual to further my knowledge. And then from there, music became my focus while in prison for that 7 years. I honed my craft. But Rakim became the blueprint of that because he was someone who had knowledge of self. And I never understood the power of Rakim when I was younger. At first listening to his music as just a fan of hip hop.
Right.
I never understood, you know, him being God body, him having the knowledge of self that he had and all that. But when I got knowledge of self, it all clicked.
It all started making sense.
It all came together. And then throughout my bed, I don't know, I knew that I would meet Ra one day. I knew I was destined to meet him. I didn't know when, how, you know what I'm saying, or where, but I knew that I would. And little things throughout my time in prison, you know, spoke to me on that, high level things. And then eventually when I came home, started my record label. First night I performed in New York City at Club Speed, met Marley Marl. So that was another indication I was on the right path. And then eventually I would run into Ra's people, connect with them, but they were gonna connect me with them, but lo and behold, I went back to the feds. And then that's when I would meet him after that bid.
Okay, so
another 2.5 years.
You started to focus on your music career.
Yeah.
But you still was dabbling.
Yeah, still on the streets.
Still didn't get it. That 7 years didn't do it for you.
it wasn't a deterrent because me hustling and going to prison was just part of it came with the territory. I understood that.
Right.
And I came from the era where you get knocked, you get bagged, you do your time. You know what I'm saying? Not this new era where you telling everybody you know what I'm saying, you work for the feds and all that.
They actually have a salary for informants.
Wow.
And I saw a list of salaries per state for informants.
Crazy.
So there's actually guys out there that
making
really
a living.
get paid.
Right, they making a living.
Going to find out what
who's
criminals
crack,
are doing.
where the guns are at. You know what I mean?
It's somebody that's out there that's at every club saying hello to everybody, hanging out with them in the VIPs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's somebody that everybody think is cool, dressing nice and all this. And
Crazy. Crazy.
This is why I said I would never be part of the game ever again. Once I got locked up myself and then I saw all the treachery, just from hearing the stories, not even from the own stories.
From personal experience.
Just hearing all the stories, everybody was in there because of a snitch. Yeah. And most of them snitches was somebody they knew.
I mean, like 90% of cases are based on informants.
Pretty much. You know what I'm saying?
It's not the cops doing the work.
So I said, you know what? There is no way that I'm going to be in this game if I cannot trust. You know what I'm saying? If there is no loyalty, then I'm in a bad situation.
Yeah.
You know,
you're in a lose-lose situation.
And then when you're doing selling drugs in that environment, it's one person above you and one person below you, or more than one person below you. But you know, you're always dealing. You got to get it off somebody, and then you got to sell it to somebody. So automatically, at least two people know what you're doing.
Right. No
you know
doubt.
what I'm saying? And it's like,
and you have multiple clients.
You know, committing crimes where people are knowing your business and knowing and they can tell on you and expose you is already a bad deal.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
definitely.
saying? So I said just off that alone, I ain't never gonna mess with the game ever again.
Smart man. Unfortunately, I got back into it.
So
you know
got
what I mean?
back into it. You did a few more years.
But that time that I did a few more, this is what goes back to the question about Rakim. So when I was doing a few years in New Jersey and Fairton, back in the feds on a violation. They gave me 2.5 years. First I did 7, I did the 2.5. But in Phantom, you know, I was telling people my story. You know, I was supposed to be connect with Rye. I was supposed to be in one of his groups, and all that, called the Last Platoon. I was supposed to be a part of that, and I was supposed to meet him and connect with him, you know, because I was doing hip hop, and I was known, you know, for what I did in the music biz. And what happened was, another guy that was there was also supposed to be part of the Last Platoon, and he knew Rye very well. He actually knew Rye's man. He was a man of Rye's man, or Rye used to call him his point man, Bill Blast, street legend from Brooklyn.
Yeah, I heard.
You know what I'm saying? He was involved with Cool G Rap, managed him for a while, and all that. So
Bill Blast, my sidekick.
yeah, Bill Blast was that dude, right? Yeah. So anybody that knows Brooklyn knows the streets. Bill Blast was that street dude. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to Bill Blast, too, matter of fact. Anyway, I met Bill Blast's man. And people came to me. I was in a child home one day. They came to me, was like, yo, this dude in there saying, you know what I mean? He don't know who you are. You talking ride this, ride that, and he's down ride and all this and that. He want to meet you on the yard. I'm like, all right, cool. Because when you go to prison, you know, everybody got a large whale story. Right, you know what I'm saying? Fish story, whale story, whatever it is. So, you know, you hear it all. And most people are telling lies in there. But I always been a real cat. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Don't add nothing to it. Don't take nothing away. So I said, like, let's do it. We went to the rec yard. I met him. His name was Bees. And we just started talking. So I knew Rod, explained to him. He's like, oh, all right. And he knew that what I was saying was actual fact. So we started building and chopping up. Then we started just spitting and, you know, displaying our skills with each other. You know what I mean? And my man from East New York, he out of Brooklyn and all that. So, you know, where Blast is from as well. So we built this bond, man. And he connected me with Blast before I came home. I came home, connected with Blast out in Brooklyn. But, you know, it wasn't on no music. Blast was running with Ra, doing shows with him, but Blast was still in the streets. And me and Blast was, you know, connected on the street shit. Right. You know what I mean? Part of my language.
But another thing is that you're not just into rap, you know. You stopped doing, you know, the street life stuff. You started rapping and focusing on your music career, but you also got into something else. This was interesting. A lot of people don't know you have been featured and interviewed by Forbes magazine, Black Enterprise, and Entrepreneur magazine, as well as a bunch of other, because of something that you're into in the technology game. Yeah. But the story that interested me was that you heard about this guy, Ben Horowitz, when you was locked up, and you said to yourself that, I got to meet this guy. And that story was very interesting to me because it shows your determination. With meeting Ra, you said, I'm gonna meet him, I'm gonna work with him, I'm gonna, and then it finally manifests, you know, and you also did the same thing. I'm sorry we didn't even get to the part where you actually met Ra, and how the relationship build, because I know it kept going, but I'm intrigued by this story because this is what you're into today, this new technology, and you met this guy, Ben Horowitz, and I want you to elaborate on that. From when you knew this guy, he's a billionaire, you know, he's an entrepreneur, you liked what he was standing for and what he was doing, and then you decided to reach out to him.
Right, but to finish real quick on the Ra piece, because that's integral to the story of why I met Ben and how I met Ben, which a lot of people don't know. And I never really tell that facet of the story. Right. So I eventually would go on to meet Ra in 2006. He performed in Providence. I went to the show. My people was there. Bill Blast was there. Me and him was already connected. We met because I had got $1 million investor to invest in me for my music. Met Ra. Met him that night, Club Babylon, all night long. Eventually went on tour with Ra. We became friends, became cool. That relationship has lasted to this day. Now, when I was in prison, incarcerated, my last sentence in the feds, locked in Central Falls at the Wyatt, I just became 100% dissatisfied with determined to change my life. So entrepreneurship was a route that I decided I'm gonna do. I always like the process of making money, and I was always good at it.
You started reading all the
magazines. So I started reading the magazines about business, you know, Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Richest Man in Babylon, all that, books. Right? Entrepreneur Inc., black enterprise, it's absorbing all this knowledge. Came across a story about this venture capitalist who not only loved hip hop, but used hip hop to teach business lessons to his employees. His name was Ben Horowitz. Now that intrigued me, as much as my story intrigues you, his story intrigued me because I couldn't put together older white Jewish gentleman, venture capitalist, billionaire, Silicon Valley with hip hop, the streets, struggle, poverty, crime. It just didn't match up for me. So I was really intrigued to why he loved hip hop. And but I said to myself while incarcerated, if I can connect with this man, he'll change my life. So I had an idea of how to do that. And music was the way to do that because I saw that his favorite artist at the time was not only an artist that I was friends with, but an artist that my music also got heavily compared to.
Right.
And that was Rakim.
Right.
So that was a touch point. I come home, 2 years pass. I got back in the game, unfortunately. But this time, it didn't resonate with my spirit. My spirit started convicting me. And I knew that it was no longer my pathway.
Right.
I let it all go. Stopped selling, focused on my money, got back in the studio, putting together my debut album, released it, didn't release it, but put it on Kickstarter to raise $7,000 to complete it and do a video, so forth and so on. So I did that. I come across Ben on a BET special on the book The Tanning of America by Steve Stout. And the first person to pop up was this guy, Ben Horowitz. Now, I didn't recognize his face, but I recognized the name. I was like, oh, this is a guy I read about. He really does love hip hop, right?
Right.
So when I saw that, I did more research. Found out he had a book he just put out called The Hard Thing About Hard Things. And that he had a blog called Ben's Blog, read by 10 million people worldwide. So that intrigued me. Did research, found this blog. His latest blog post was called Legend of the Blind MC. And that broke down why Ben loved hip hop. And that connected me deeper on a deeper spiritual level with him because I recognized it came from a deeper place. But it was authentic and it was real and it was genuine. And then I realized even more, all the proceeds from his book, he was given to African women in the struggle. So then again, I realized more how we had so much in common and our spirits connected. So that's what led to me then going on Twitter, reaching out to him.
And he responded right away, or did you have to send a few messages?
He didn't respond right away, but with the first message I sent him, it didn't take long for him to respond to. I said, yo, I read about you while incarcerated. You know what I mean? I just came home. And I had just performed with Rakim in February of this year. It was 2014. I had performed in Universal City, California with Ra. Not with him on the same stage, but it was his bill. He was a headliner. Right. But I actually performed that on that stage with the likes of Jill Scott and all these individuals.
Nice. And
I graced the same stage, and Ra would come on and later perform. So yeah, I had a picture I took. I sent that picture to Ben. I tweeted it to him and said, you know, I'm a hip hop artist, what I do. And he was like, yo, welcome home. And we just started the conversation up. I told him how I read the story about him. I wanted to learn more about him, what have you. I asked him to follow me. Because at the time on when it was called Twitter, at the time you couldn't direct message anybody unless you followed each other.
Right.
So I asked him to follow me. I followed him, and that was it. I laid out my whole story in about 10, 20 tweets.
Yep.
I tweeted out to him in the direct messages and told him my life story and just basically laid out, you know, I initially wanted you to invest in my music company, but now that I have this opportunity, you know, will you mentor me? Teach me how to become a billionaire. Right. That's what I asked him. Changed my life, man.
Yeah, man. And it's
Changed my life.
It's crazy because of the fact that, you know, think about it 20, 30 years ago. Somebody was a billionaire that you heard about. You would never have any type of access to that person.
Never.
If you didn't go to the place where they was at and intrude.
Right. Yeah.
There's no
technology
way
to connect you. That's right.
that a billionaire is going to talk to some hood kid.
Yeah. You're too far removed.
At any level.
You're too far removed. It's not going to happen.
And the fact that you can actually reach out to just about anybody and you never know. You know, it was funny because one time I mentioned something on Twitter. Ice-T had put a post, and I had wrote something. And then he starts writing me back on the joint. And I'm like, oh, shoot, this is crazy. I'm going back and forth with Ice-T.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have never thought, you know what I'm saying?
Something like that. It's crazy you mentioned that because something like that happened with me and Damon John. Me and Damon John went back and forth with some things.
Yeah. And so, you know, so we didn't get to where, you know, where you went, the next level. We're going to get to that. But first, since, you know, you're talking about all these shows doing Rakim and all that.
Yeah.
And talking about how you know what I'm saying? I want to play one of your tracks.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
This track is called Hope.
Yeah.
And we're going to listen to the track real quick, you know what I'm saying? And then we're going to discuss the track, and also we're going to discuss what it means, you know, in general. What is that message about, and how do people take in that message and utilize it? You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to play the joint right now. Is Hope by Divine. And who's featured on the chorus?
Felicia, I sampled Felicia Horowitz, so she's featured. She's credited being featured in the beginning. She sampled in the beginning
the
intro.
talking.
And the brother singing is Lavelle. Brother out of Harlem.
Yeah, that sounds real nice. Let's get to it.
Isn't it great to live in a time where hope has unprecedented reach? And because of the information age that we live in today, hope is now accessible to each and every one of us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening.
The diamond in your eyes is shining through the night. I see it's all inside of you. The fire in your soul will never let you fall. It's always burning bright for you.
I came out the hood with better dreams, with better scenes, the sceneries I could see to be all that I could be, and more. So I explore, observing everything I saw.
We're gonna give you just a little bit of it. You know what I'm saying? We want people to go stream it. So where can they find the song?
It's available on iTunes, available on Spotify as well. The joint was produced by Ran Reed. Ran Reed produced it, a brother out of Jersey.
All right.
Nah, man.
Yeah. The chorus is dope. The beat is dope.
Thank you.
Your lyrics is dope. You know, we only played that first verse, but you can tell that the lyrical skills is immense. You know what I'm saying? The multiple word rhyme schemes.
Yeah, syllables.
You know,
yeah.
And just giving a message, a positive message.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the song is called Hope. And I have my own take on hope. You know what I'm saying? But I want to hear what it means to you. What is the message that you're really sending?
Yes. So hope is an acronym in this particular sense. It's an acronym that stands for helping oppressed people elevate. You know what I mean? And when I look at the word hope outside of that, without being an acronym, it's just really believing that there's something better to come, and wanting and desiring that, despite the current circumstances you under. You know what I mean? You know, a lot of people have lost hope and lost their lives because they lost hope. And why it's personal to me, and I talk about my incarceration, is because when I was incarcerated, my hope was tested. You know what I mean? My resilience was tested. My my strength was tested. And the one thing I never lost was the belief in myself, right? I never lost that belief in myself, and that's what really got me through. But hope was the emotion and the underlying spiritual energy, I would say, that kept me going, knowing that I have my son out there, and, you know, I needed to get home to him, and, you know, there was something greater destined for my life. So I never lost that hope, and it got me through.
So pretty much, you know, like what I feel about hope is it's great to have hope, but you can't just have hope and hope that things get better and hope that you reach your goals without actually having action behind it.
Absolutely.
You know, so what is your take on that?
I absolutely agree. Hope, man. Listen. Hope in that sense, where it blinds you or it fetters you from moving and putting forth the action necessary to create a better situation or circumstance for yourself. I don't believe in that type of hope. You know what I mean? That's not how I approach hope. Hope is more like, for me, more like a an inspirational and a motivational, energy. You know what I mean? Yeah, I have hope, but I got to eat. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm gonna make moves. I'm gonna get out there and do what I do. But they say, faith without action is dead.
Right. Exactly.
So the same thing with hope. Hope without action is dead.
Yeah. So that's why the thing about hope, and when people talk hope, I just want the majority to know that hope is the basis, right? So if you have hope, that means you believe. That means you think you can.
Right.
And that you might and you will, right? But
If you don't,
you definitely need the action, because if you just hope alone is not gonna get it for
Nah.
you. You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
And a lot of people don't understand that, and they throw around the word hope like hope itself it'll make you strong, like you said. When you was locked up, your hope was tested. Now that having that hope will keep you strong.
Right.
Will keep you, what I'm saying, sane while you're going through the hell in life. You know what I'm
hope
saying?
is just a spark. You know what I mean? If you're trying to, you want to do a high explosive, you want to make things happen, then you got to go from the spark.
But you,
know what I'm saying, to
you
actuality.
definitely need to have some hope, I guess, to even start the action.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, because if you become hopeless, that's even worse than having hope. If you think about it, right? Because if you have hope, you think there's something that could be there.
That could be
But
there.
if you're hopeless, you don't think nothing's there.
Right.
So I'd rather have hope than be hopeless.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? That was my point. But however, to your point, you can't. Hope is just a starting point. You know what I mean? It's a starting point. It's not the end. There's still a marathon you got to run.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So have hope, but don't let hope confine you or imprison you to non-action.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Just filling yourself with the idea
Yeah, like,
that it can be one day.
Exactly.
Like there's people that
They deal with the mystery God. You know what I mean?
But I've seen with my own eyes and ears, heard people like talk in the hoping way.
Yeah.
About things that they want to have, and all these things that they don't do anything to get to that goal, get to that so-called dream that they have, and the things that they want in life or whatever, and they're not getting up every day to go after it.
Listen, G, you talking to a manifester. I do it on a regular basis, every day, all day. So you're absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? So I would never speak of hope in those type of terms, and I would definitely impart wisdom in individuals who do look at hope in those type of terms, or actually apply hope in their life in that way, to where it causes inaction. Well, you think a mystery God's gonna bring you food, clothing, and shelter. You know what I mean? Nah, if you sit there and wait for mystery God to bring you food, clothing, and shelter, you're gonna be hungry. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're gonna be naked, and you're gonna be out of doors.
Well, God said that He's gonna help those who help
Of
themselves.
themselves.
Right?
You take one step towards me, I take two towards you.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's written. So shall it be, man.
And that makes me transition to this next statement that we're gonna talk about real quick, and that's the artists, rappers in particular, over 40, over 50, and still going, still making money, still being relevant. You know what I'm saying? And hope, like you said, and I want to bring up Killer Mike. Killer Mike just won 3 Grammys this year, and he won as a 48-year-old rapper. He won as a 48-year-old rapper. You know what I'm saying? Best album, one of the top performing songs, best rap song. Like, at 48, like, we would have never thought this when we were young. Everybody, even in the 2000s, that's it. Like, rappers that was like 27, 29 were considered like old. Like, oh, them guys are old. Like, and a lot of people quit rapping because they thought they were too old to do it.
Right.
And and that's why I want to big up Killer Mike, you know what I'm saying? Because he had that hope. But not only that, but he kept believing that he would get to the highest level, and kept doing things that got him closer and closer and closer. And right now we got like so many rappers that are over 40 and over 50 that are still doing great in the game. You got Jadakiss, you got Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, Ice-T, it goes on and on. Fabulous.
Rakim.
Rakim.
Yeah,
still
man.
performing weekly.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying? At 50, like 6 or 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
Damn near 60.
Yeah.
This is incredible. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that multi-generational talents throughout the eras, like myself, I started in 89. So I started writing in 89, you know what I'm saying? Making beats in 92. I got way over 30 years doing this, and I've gone through all the eras, and I've released music in every era, you know what I'm saying? Where other people, I saw how many people came and went.
It's impressive.
I was in there long enough to see people come and go, even if they came for 15 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and still end up quitting. Still wouldn't think that they could have a Killer Mike moment. You know what I'm saying? And and so that's something that I wanted to talk to you about, and how you feel about that. You know what I'm saying? Being you're 40 plus yourself and still doing your thing.
Yeah,
you know
so
what I'm saying?
the first, shout out to Ra. His birthday just passed January 28th. He just turned 56. So,
56.
you know what I mean? Yeah, he's
Yep.
56 years old, still doing his thing. That's my guy, man. I love what Killer Mike was able to achieve for many reasons. I personally know Killer Mike. I was just with him out in Utah last year.
I'm in his last video.
Yeah.
Man, my clothing brand anyway.
Yeah. So I know Killer Mike personally, and I really admire and respect his craft and what he does and what he stands for as an individual.
Stands for, yeah.
You know what I mean? He's actually gotten involved with technology as well. Very familiar with Greenwood and his mans that he built that with. So me and him have a lot of touch points.
Right.
And to see him do his thing and get all those nominations is crazy.
But not even that he got the nominations, but the skill.
The skill of the album. I
skill,
mean,
the
it's the skill,
album.
the message, the music, everything was there.
To still be that dope.
Exactly, everything was there. Everything was there for him to be able to achieve that. I mean, even Nas was nominated in one category, I believe.
And he's 50.
And you know what I'm saying? And he's still doing his thing, killing it.
And you wouldn't have saw that 10 years ago.
No, not at all.
10 years
Not at
ago,
all.
everybody that was nominated was in their early 20s.
Right. It's a maturity. Like, I think the music has matured in the way that people, and when I say the music is matured, I mean the sense of the recognition of it by the right people, right? Or the right organization or the right institutions. The Grammys hasn't always treated us good. You know what I mean? And like Jay said in his speech, it could be better. Let's make it better, what have you. But it's for whether that was the Grammys or not the Grammys, Killer Mike doing his thing, getting those awards and getting acknowledged just for the work he put in, the body of work with this latest album and who he is, like you said, the message and his age. It all just shows the testament of what hip hop is and what it's always been. And that it can't be destroyed. There's no alpha, no omega. You know what I'm saying? It's here forever.
Right.
And that's just what it is, man.
Right. We're going to be, like, the thing is that we all that were fans that are still fans.
Right.
You didn't just stop being a hip hop fan because you got older.
Not at all.
So if you 40, 50, and you still love hip hop, but you don't love that new hip hop.
Right.
So when them old school hip hop shows come around, they're packed, they're sold out.
Right, exactly.
The people are still admiring the artists of the eras of the 90s.
Yeah,
you know
they came out of, they lived through them.
And they still have them same fans. And these fans are older now. They don't really do much. They don't go outside. But they'll go outside for some old school rap.
Right, and
R&B.
I give a lot of credit to the younger fans of the older artists, because you see like a renaissance. You know what I mean? Of people just admiring the music from back then and realizing and really appreciating in a sense in the way that it should be appreciated, and the historical value of it, the era that it came out in. You know what I mean?
That's the one. The
positive. Evolution of it. Yeah.
That's the one positive of TikTok and stuff like that, is that through TikTok, a lot of old school songs went viral recently. And people are learning these old school songs, which is leading them to a rabbit hole of more music that they didn't know
younger
existed.
generations becoming
to the younger
exposed to it.
generation. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna be 50 this year, And I'm still rapping. I'm still doing my thing, dropping projects. 7 Energy, the EP is coming
Right,
out
right.
soon.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna support that too. Word.
So you know, as an artist now, because of the errors and real hip hop being not just a old man thing, is a young man thing too. There's young guys that are straight hip hop that are out there that not following the new trends. You know,
Right.
they're really following traditional hip hop. They're spitting lyrics. You know what I'm saying, that are relevant to the people of their era. Right? So it's like I recorded a song. I remember the first time I recorded a song with a young 20-year-old kid. I was probably like 45 at the time, you know what I'm saying? But he's like 20, and there's like 25-year age difference. And then there's other cats on the track that are like 30, you know, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy how hip hop, you know what I'm saying?
It bridges that gap, man.
Like that I could make records with mad young kids and it's still relevant.
Yeah, bridges a generational gap, yeah.
The song was still just made perfect sense. You
Right,
didn't
right.
think, oh, I heard an older guy over there and a young guy. You just heard hip hop.
Right.
You just heard hip hop.
Nah, they don't.
and
Yeah,
then-
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's great that you know, I go to the Wu-Tang concerts and I'm seeing all type of ages. You see kids 10 years old, teenagers, 50,
Wu-Tang
60
is another. That's a whole
year old.
phenomenon
You
right
know
there.
what I'm saying?
That's
Like-
a whole global phenomenon right
you
there.
know, so hip hop, you
know
know,
what I mean?
hip hop is good.
Yeah.
Hip hop is good to all people of all ages. You know what I'm saying? When hip hop is done right, it transcends all ages. You know what I'm saying? And all cultures, because hip hop became the universal language of the earth.
Yeah, her infinite power helping oppressed people. KRS are the best, you know what I mean? Hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
Word up.
Yeah. So you know, gonna shut down that topic real quick. You know what I'm saying? This is the Street Nerds podcast, and real quick, you know what I'm saying? Don't forget to shout out the sponsors. The sponsors been good to us, been supporting us from the beginning, and we want to make sure they get their shine. But before we close out, and let's close this out, but we can't leave without mentioning the most important thing, and that is what you are doing today.
Yeah.
What you are doing today and how it's going to impact people moving forward, if you could briefly describe it.
So through Ben Horowitz, I got into technology, as you know, and I've been in technology for the last 10 years. I've built 2 startups. One was called Black FinTech in the early days in 2016. Black was an acronym that stood for Building Leverage, Acquiring Knowledge. And iterating on top of that, what I built with Black, I'm now building a new company called Solvent. And Solvent is a mobile-first, all-in-one banking and financial empowerment platform focused on the system impacted. And we think about system impacted as people who are socioeconomically disadvantaged, people who are formerly incarcerated, the family, friends, and loved ones of those who are formerly incarcerated and or incarcerated, and the incarcerated. And we empower them to optimize their financial lives.
So it's like a bank, but a digital bank?
Yeah, they call them neobanks. So it is. We do have banking, but we also have other financial empowerment tools, products, and services, namely do-it-yourself credit repair, bill pay or credit building, technology and tools, as well as financial literacy and entrepreneurship education.
So pretty much everything that the school system ignored teaching the people.
Yeah, we try to empower them
so that they could be successful in life in this modern world where technology is so important. And, you know, I was reading some of the article, and you mentioned how you don't have to be an engineer in particular. You don't have to actually be into coding
right,
or anything
to get into
in
technology.
particular to get into technology.
There's a lot more jobs
in the
in tech.
fields of technology.
That's right.
Because there's marketing and a bunch of sales.
That's
There's
right.
a bunch of different aspects of technology that's not just the actual making of the software.
Yeah, the coding, yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I'm saying? Even your ideas, because you could create the idea even if you don't know how to code or make the software. You still could create the idea that someone else put together, and you know.
Absolutely.
So now is this just an information thing, or is it something that they actually can?
No, it's gonna be an app. Mobile app drops in about 90 days. So it's gonna be a mobile app. Think digital banking. Any company out there that you might use now,
like
digital
Chime,
banking. Yeah, I don't
similar
like
to
that.
Chime
Yeah,
or something
exactly.
like
Yeah,
that?
something like that. To think Chime, but specifically built by and for people who are system impacted, right? Those 4 segments I just mentioned, and It's all about just optimizing your financial
So
life.
there ain't gonna be no overdraft fees.
No overdraft fees, no minimum balance you have to hold. You know what I mean? We remove all that. Actually, the bank account is free. So you have a bank account, debit card, free. You get that. We have some content that is also free that you can empower yourself with. Financial literacy 101,
So this is
entrepreneurship
crazy.
education 101.
This is crazy because no bank, like the banks don't be wanting you to know a lot about money.
Of course not. Of course
You know
not.
what I'm saying? But for y'all to be a bank and then also teaching the people better ways to handle their money and what they could do with it in many ways.
Yeah, you know, we're not necessarily a bank, but we are a banking and financial empowerment platform. And the mission of Solvent is real simple: facilitate financial empowerment for the system impacted. So our tools, products, and services are always positioned for that end mission.
Right. So I'm saying, but it's not like a person without no money can come in. They still have to come in and put money in the digital bank. No.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, yeah. They for me, when I think about digital banking or a bank account and a debit card, those are just utility tools
yeah.
for efficiency,
Right.
for financial efficiency. That's really all they are. They're not empowerment tools. We're giving you that efficiency, a utility tool to use for your finances for free. But we have content, curriculum that also helps you with financial empowerment.
That you can buy.
No, it's free of charge. But there's other, we have a tiered services, so more premium content curriculum. There's a fee for do-it-yourself credit repair. There's a fee for that. So we are a for-profit company, but we're for purpose.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. That sounds real interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I was actually going online to become a member. I was having issues with my service at the time, so we're definitely going to get into that. And I love it. You know what I'm saying? And you got backing for that, like
So Amazon was our first investor. They invested $225,000. $125,000 was a cash grant. Non-dilutive capital, meaning they don't take any ownership in the company, and they gave us $100,000 in AWS credits for the technology. And then we got into another accelerator through Village Capital. That was the Innovations in Justice Tech Fellowship Program. They gave us $20,000 non-dilutive capital, so they don't take any ownership in that. And we're raising $1.5 million at the moment at a $7.5 million valuation with the under a safe note. So, yeah.
This is crazy. Just hearing you talk, and while I'm hearing you talk, I'm also thinking of your story, and and I admire what you've been through and where you are now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's very challenging to go through so many things like that and still end up doing something that's just like you like ahead of people who never been to jail.
Oh, right,
people
right,
who
yeah,
never
yeah,
had setbacks have not
Yeah,
gone
10 years,
as far as you've
I was
gone
set
and
back
been
10
as
years.
successful as you have become. You know what I'm saying? Like that goes back to the hope and believing in yourself.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
and
Determine
then
ideas.
taking the,
You know what I mean?
Your determination and your focus, is really something to admire, because once you focused and you were determined, you made it happen. You manifested it through action, through right action. You know what I'm saying?
Right, action. That's right.
And being committed.
That's right.
And with that, we're gonna sign out. You know what I'm saying? Hoping that people caught some jewels over here, got inspired by the story and the moves by Divine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if there's anything else you want to share,
I mean, for your audience, if they want to, learn more about Solvent, www.justsolvent.com. That's JUSTSOLVENT. And they can reach out to me as well. Divine@justsolvent.com. And Divine is spelled DIVINE.
no doubt. We appreciate you coming through.
I appreciate you having me, brother.
You know what I'm saying? Peace,
Word up.
peace.
Pleasure's mine.
Let's get it.
Whoa.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Street Nerds podcast. We couldn't make this happen if it wasn't for our sponsors. So we'd like to thank YesPVD.com, Youth Empowerment Society. Check them out. TruthHipHop.com, the #1 underground hip-hop radio station in the world. TruthHipHop.com. Want to shout out Fit First RI, at Fit First RI on IG for all your needs in personal training and working out and just transforming your lifestyle, your body, and all that. Holler at Fit First RI on IG. And another sponsor is La Gran Parada, Broad Street, Providence, best Dominican buffet style food you're gonna see in the city at La Gran Parada. Can't forget All for Detailing Auto Salon located at 1 Charlotte Street in North Providence. For your detailing, car wash needs, check out All for Detailing Auto Salon. We can't forget Salute the Barber, the #1 barber lifestyle brand in the world. Yes, indeed. Salute the Barber. Salute. And shout out Holographics, who handle all our printing needs here at the Street Nerds Podcast. Stay tuned in.